If you love your dog, this video will open your eyes. Most owners make dozens of little mistakes every single day without realizing how much they affect their dog's health, happiness, and trust. In this video, you'll see what those mistakes really are and how to fix them before they quietly harm your best friend. By the end, you'll understand your dog better than ever, and they'll feel it too. Let's begin with 12 small but surprising things that loving owners do and dogs secretly hate. Mistake number 1. Bathing your dog too often. I know giving your dog lots of baths can seem like a good way to keep them clean, but it can actually backfire. Their skin produces natural oils that protect, hydrate, and keep the microbiome in balance. Every time you use shampoo too frequently, you strip that barrier, and the skin reacts by producing even more oil. This can lead to imbalance, which makes the skin overproduce oil and, ironically, makes your dog look dirtier and smell worse. A good rule of thumb is to bathe your dog every 3 to 4 months unless a veterinarian says otherwise due to a specific skin condition. Brushing also helps spread those natural oils and keeps the coat healthier and shinier. Balanced skin smells good, looks good, and helps your dog feel far more comfortable. And speaking of comfort, there is another everyday habit that can bother your dog more than you might think. Mistake number 2. Picking up your dog when it is not necessary. Most dogs don't like being picked up, even if they stay still out of habit. Think about it for a second. They prefer to move on their own, choose where to place their paws, and always have the option to walk away if something feels uncomfortable. When you scoop them up without warning, you take away exactly that freedom to choose. That is why many dogs tense up, lick their lips, or try to wiggle free. Picking up your dog should be for special situations, like an emergency, helping over an obstacle, or when your dog is very small or fragile. If you need to do it, offer a treat, and make sure your dog is as calm as possible. That way you give your dog autonomy and confidence instead of taking it away. Mistake number 3. Assuming certain behaviors will fade on their own. Many owners think their dog will grow out of bad behavior over time, but habits do not disappear by magic. If your dog barks, jumps, or climbs on the counter to steal food, it is because on some level that behavior works for them. Every action has a purpose, like burning energy, getting attention, or simply having fun. Do you really expect change if you don't teach what to do instead? Your job isn't to scold after the fact, it's to guide before things go wrong. Ask for a sit when greeting people, offer a chew toy when they are anxious, or send your dog to their bed when the doorbell rings. Every time they get it right. Praise, reward, and repeat. Over time, that behavior becomes the new default. Do not ignore it or hope for miracles. Good habits are built with patience, clarity, and consistency. And speaking of expectations, there is another mistake many people make when bringing a new dog home. Mistake number 4. Assuming your dog will act like the one you had as a kid. It's easy to get nostalgic and think your new dog will be just like that childhood companion. But every dog is an individual. Even within the same breed, temperament, energy, insecurities, and learning style can be very different. Your dog has their own story, their own pace, and a unique way of understanding the world. Instead of assuming, watch how they play, how they react to noises, and how they ask for your attention. That's where you'll see their true personality. Adapt to your dog, not to a memory from the past. Customize routines, walks, and training to what your dog actually needs. And speaking of connection, some ways of showing affection do not feel as good to dogs as we think. Mistake number 5. Giving hugs that make your dog uncomfortable. I know hugging your dog can feel like the most natural way to show love, but for your dog it often isn't. In dog language, a hug is not affection, it is restraint. That's why your dog goes stiff, looks away, or licks their lips, which is their way of saying, I need space. Would it relax you if someone held you tight so you couldn't move? Instead of wrapping your arms around your dog, try something more respectful. Kneel to their level, pet the chest, side, or base of the neck, and watch their response. If your dog approaches on their own or rests their head on you, then yes, you can keep that contact a bit longer. Affection shouldn't be forced. When given with respect, it builds trust and strengthens the bond. Mistake number 6. The weekend warrior trap. If the only time your dog gets intense exercise is on weekends, you might be slipping into the weekend warrior syndrome. During the week, does your dog just circle the block, and then on the weekend you head out for long hikes or big outings? That jump can be too extreme for your dog and may cause stress or health issues, like extreme fatigue or even injuries. The solution is consistency. A little every day is better. Try slightly longer weekday walks, add scent games at home, or quiet mental activities. If on those long weekend walks you notice excessive panting, a slower pace, or frequent stops, it's time to take a break. The goal isn't to exhaust your dog, it's to keep them balanced and happy. Mistake number 7. Leaving flowers on a low table. A pretty bouquet on the coffee table might look harmless, but to your dog it is hard to resist. Dogs are naturally curious, and if something smells good, the first reaction is to investigate with their mouth. The problem is that many common plants are toxic to dogs. Lilies, tulips, ivy, chrysanthemums, and even tomato plants can trigger vomiting, diarrhea, and lots of discomfort. Is it really worth risking your dog's health for a centerpiece? Even if you think they will not touch it, 1 second of curiosity is enough to nibble a leaf or drink vase water, which can also contain toxins. The best move is to keep flowers out of reach or choose pet-safe plants. That way, your home still looks great and your dog stays safe. And speaking of avoidable hazards, there is one that happens all the time. Mistake number 8. Letting your dog stick their head out the car window. Looks like a movie scene, right? Picture your dog with ears flapping, loving the ride like it's the best thing ever. The reality is far less romantic and much more dangerous. At speed, a small rock, a branch, or any flying debris can hit their eyes or ears and cause serious injury. Dry air also irritates the cornea, and dust or pollen that blows in can end up causing conjunctivitis. If that wasn't enough, a loud noise or anything attention-grabbing could make your dog try to jump. Your job is to keep your dog safe and happy. So next time, consider leaving the windows only partly open and secure your dog with a car safety harness. Your furry friend's safety should always be a priority. Mistake number 9. Not storing or sealing food properly. It might seem minor, but opening a bag of food and dipping into it day after day is like serving stale meals. Over time, fats oxidize, vitamins degrade, and the smell turns rancid. So what is the fix? Store the food in a clean, dry, airtight container and keep it away from sunlight and heat. A helpful trick is to place the original bag inside the container, which preserves the kibble's protective coating and keeps the lot number handy. And please don't mix new kibble with old without washing the container first. Residue stuck on the walls can spoil even freshly opened food. The difference between a well-nourished dog and one with digestive upset can be something as simple as sealing the lid tightly. And since we are talking about well-being, rest deserves attention too. Mistake number 10. Not providing a proper bed. Since your dog may sleep up to 14 hours a day, the right bed is essential for their well-being. Don't you think a companion who gives you so much every day deserves a comfy place to rest? Choose a bed that fits how your dog likes to sleep. If they love to curl up, a bolster or donut-style bed will be a favorite. And if they prefer to stretch out, a wide, firm mat is the best choice. For large or senior dogs, a memory foam or orthopedic bed helps relieve joint pressure. In summer, elevated cot-style beds let air circulate and keep paws dry and cool. Look for washable, durable, comfortable materials and place the bed in a quiet corner away from drafts. When the bed loses support or still smells even after washing, it's time to replace it. Good sleep lifts mood, energy, and even behavior. Mistake number 11. Teaching too many words at once. Dogs can learn lots of cues, but piling on too many at the same time can confuse them and slow learning. It's better to focus on a few clear keywords your dog can link to specific actions. Start with basics like sit, stay, and come. Make sure your dog has truly mastered those before adding new cues. This approach gives every word a clear, consistent meaning for your dog, which avoids confusion and improves training results. Quality of learning matters far more than how many cues your dog can memorize. Mistake number 12. Dressing your dog in costumes. Your dog isn't a toy, so let them be a dog. Even if you find it adorable to see a character costume on your dog, they don't share that excitement. That outfit that makes you smile can make your dog feel uncomfortable, restricted, or even stressed. Is a funny photo really worth it if your dog has a rough time? Many costumes limit movement, trap heat, or cause small chafing spots that you may not notice right away. If it's truly cold, a sweater or jacket is fine, and a simple Halloween costume might be okay for a short time, but only if your dog is comfortable. If they're not enjoying it, take it off. There's no costume that fits your dog better than their own happiness. We've just gone through the 12 mistakes that can affect your dog's physical well-being, but taking care of our pets also means protecting how they feel on the inside. So now we're going to take things one step further. Even though your dog can't talk, they have very strong emotions, and there are small things we do every day that can hurt them without us realizing it. Let's find out what those things are and how to avoid them. Get ready, because what comes next can completely change the way your dog looks at you and trusts you. Mistake number 1. Making your dog apologize. Many people believe their dog knows how to say sorry, but the reality is very different. When you see what looks like embarrassment after an incident, like chewing something or having an accident at home, they are actually responding to your mood. Your dog quickly picks up that you're angry or upset and puts on a guilty look to calm you down. Dogs don't feel guilt like humans. They show calming signals to bring the tension down. Does it really make sense to demand remorse from an animal that does not even understand the concept of guilt? That is why forcing them to apologize makes no sense and only creates confusion and anxiety. What truly works is guiding their behavior and reinforcing the behaviors you want repeated. If they do something right, reward them with play, a treat, or some gentle petting. With patience and consistency, your dog will learn without any need for imagined guilt. And watch out for the next mistake. Mistake number 2, teasing your dog. Blowing in their face, pulling their tail, or pretending to give a treat just to laugh is not a game to your dog, even if it seems funny to you. For them, it can be annoying and anxiety-inducing. Dogs need to feel that what we do with them is consistent and respectful. If they get used to our actions being jokes, they will lose trust and may react with fear or frustration. Your dog deserves to be treated with dignity, because fun should be shared, not at the expense of their comfort. And speaking of discomfort, next is something stressful you probably haven't considered. Mistake number 3, letting your dog witness human arguments. Your dog does not understand your words, but they do pick up on your emotions and the mood at home. A loud argument with yelling and doors slamming becomes a stressful experience they don't know how to handle. Many dogs hide, bark, or even try to step between people, which raises the risk of accidents. For them, the family is the pack, and an anger-filled environment means insecurity. Although disagreements are not always avoidable, you can manage how you express them in front of your dog. Lowering your voice, moving the conversation elsewhere, or giving them a safe space helps reduce anxiety. Dogs need harmony to feel calm and balanced. Here is another mistake to avoid when you are with family. Mistake number 4, not including your dog in the family. Your dog is not just a pet. They are a member of the family. Can you imagine living without interacting with your family? For your dog, the pack, in this case your family, is everything. Ignoring their attempts at affection or keeping them away is like saying they do not belong, and that hits hard. It is not about allowing everything, but about integrating them into daily life. Let them stay by your side while you work from home. Place one of their beds near the couch, or take them along for activities they can enjoy. These small gestures make your dog feel important and part of the group. Ignoring them or relegating them to a corner only reinforces the idea that they do not belong. Your connection with your dog grows stronger when you make them part of your world. And speaking of belonging, here is a critical moment when many dogs feel pushed aside. Mistake number 5, ignoring your dog when a baby arrives. A new baby is a huge event, and often the dog gets sidelined. Suddenly, your time and attention center on the new family member, and your dog senses a drastic change in their place in the family. If you ignore them, they may feel displaced and even develop problem behaviors to get attention. The key is to keep including them in your daily routine. You can pet them while feeding the baby, speak kindly when they're near the crib, or give short play breaks. This simple gesture reassures them they are still important to you. Remember, a dog who is included in this new stage is more balanced and brings calm to the whole family. And if the baby changes the dynamic, house guests shouldn't feel like a punishment for your dog either. Mistake number 6, isolating your dog when you have guests. Some people put their dog in another room when guests arrive, thinking it will prevent hassles. But what they actually create is a dog who feels excluded and anxious. For a social animal, being separated from the group feels like punishment without a clear reason. Can you imagine being sent to another room every time people come over? Instead of isolating them, allow them to be near guests in a controlled way. Give them a comfy spot, offer a toy, or teach them to relax on their bed while people are present. That way, they learn to behave in social settings and feel safe even around new people. Including them in those moments not only makes them happy, it also strengthens their confidence and their bond with you. Mistake number 7, handling your dog unexpectedly. Petting, hugging, or picking up your dog out of the blue can damage the trust they have in you. This is something we tend to forget over time. Even if they love you, that does not mean they enjoy sudden movements or physical surprises. Dogs need to anticipate what is going to happen. That's why it helps to call them gently before touching and wait until they look at you or show they're ready. Use calm movements and always give them the option to step away. Turning interactions into something predictable helps your dog feel safe with you. And speaking of trust, there is an easy mistake to fall into that you should avoid at all costs. Mistake number 8, calling your dog for something they do not like. The come cue should be the most valuable word in your dog's vocabulary. However, many owners mess it up by calling the dog for unpleasant things like a bath, medicine, or a scolding. The result? They will be less and less likely to listen. Your dog learns that coming when called means something negative, and that's when they start ignoring the recall. To prevent that, focus on creating positive associations. Every time your dog comes when you call, give a reward. It doesn't always have to be food. Warm words or a good scratch can be enough. If you need to do something they do not like, go to them instead and use a neutral signal. Never punish them if they took a while to come when called. What matters is that they came in the end. A reliable recall can save their life, but only if it is strong enough. And be careful with this next mistake too. Mistake number 9, forcing your dog to greet other dogs. Not all dogs enjoy approaching others, and that is okay. Forcing a greeting when your dog shows discomfort can create fear, anxiety, or even an aggressive reaction. Every dog has their own personality, and some simply prefer to keep their distance. Would you force a shy person to hug a stranger against their will? It's the same with dogs. The best thing you can do is watch their body language. A lowered tail, ears pinned back, or attempts to move away are clear signs they do not want to interact. Respect their boundaries and let them decide whether to say hello or not. Not every encounter has to be nose to nose. Sometimes walking in parallel or sharing space without contact is enough. Respecting their space shows you understand their needs and that they can trust you. Pay close attention to the next point, because trusting you is the foundation of a great relationship. Mistake number 10, forcing your dog into situations that scare or stress them. Just because something seems trivial to you does not mean it is trivial to them. Elevators, metal grates, vacuum cleaners, fireworks, or crowds can spike your dog's anxiety in seconds. Forcing them through those situations will not make the fear go away. On the contrary, it will only make them more afraid and start to break the trust they have in you. Instead, make it manageable. Reduce the intensity and distance to whatever scares them. Give them an escape route and reward every small step forward. Never mock them or push them closer to what frightens them. A dog who feels safe learns. A dog who feels forced shuts down. Mistake number 11. Not helping them regulate after a negative interaction. On walks, your dog will run into others, and not all those interactions will be positive. A greeting can get tense, or excitement can rise too fast. In that moment, the best thing you can offer is a quiet pause. Basically, stand still and let them breathe, sniff and settle so adrenaline can come down. Do you really expect them to behave well at the next encounter if you don't even give them time to calm down after the last one? Marching on as if nothing happened, or throwing them right back into more stimulation only makes things worse. By giving that breather, you teach them to manage their emotions, to self-regulate, and to trust the environment again. It is a simple detail, but it completely changes the quality of your walks. And that brings me to the next mistake. Mistake number 12, ignoring your dog's stress signals. One of the most harmful ways to hurt your dog emotionally is to ignore what their body is telling you, even though they do not talk like we do. Dogs have a clear, precise language to show discomfort. Out-of-context yawning, lip-licking, turning the head away, or showing the whites of the eyes are messages that something is off. If you force them to stay in situations that overwhelm them, stress builds up and can turn into fear, anxiety, or even aggressive behavior. Isn't it much easier to pay attention to those small signals before the problem gets big? Learning to notice those early cues and respecting their limits not only prevents problems, it also builds trust and shows your dog they are safe with you. There is one more thing you should learn to protect their well-being, but it depends on the kind of dog you have. Let me explain. Mistake number 13, overlooking breed-specific needs. Not all breeds want or tolerate the same things. A border collie needs constant mental work and impulse control. A husky struggles in hot weather. A brachycephalic dog is not built for long runs, and a terrier may have a strong prey drive. Ignoring these traits does not just create frustration, it can also lead to behavior problems and health risks. Before adopting a dog, ask yourself, what was this dog bred for, and how can I channel those needs today? Match exercise, play, environment, and training to what your dog truly needs. Talk to your vet about breed predispositions to prevent future problems. Adjusting is not a whim, it is a sign of respect. A dog who lives in line with who they are will be more balanced and learn more easily. There is another key piece for a well-balanced dog. Mistake number 14, not providing a clear routine. Dogs are creatures of habit and thrive in a predictable environment. Without a clear structure, their world can feel chaotic and stressful, like always guessing what comes next. Regular times for meals, walks, and play are how they make sense of the day. You don't have to time everything to the second, but you do want consistency on the basics. Your dog relies on you to set those rhythms because they cannot organize their time on their own. So even on tough days, prioritize their essentials, like mealtimes, potty breaks, and walks, plus some focused attention. Offering that stability builds security, reduces anxiety, and helps them stay balanced. Here is another way to hurt them emotionally. Mistake number 15, yelling or using a harsh tone. Yelling at your dog is never the solution to teach good behavior. Dogs are extremely sensitive to loud sounds, and yelling only creates fear and anxiety. Many times they do not even understand why you are upset, which makes everything worse. A study from the University of Porto found that aversive methods, like yelling, don't just have short-term effects, they also leave a lasting mark on dogs' emotional well-being. Is it really worth risking their trust just to vent your frustration? Instead of raising your voice, choose calm, firm communication. Correct with patience, offer clear alternatives, and reinforce every good behavior with rewards, play, or kind words. Training is not about intimidation. It is about building a bond based on respect and calm. Also, be careful with how often you correct your dog. Mistake number 16, being overly corrective. Constantly correcting everything turns life together into a non-stop no. Correction without an alternative does not teach your dog what they can do, and that wears down the relationship. Instead of scolding, try to understand why they are doing it. Most annoying behaviors have a reason behind them: boredom, too much energy, stress, or simply natural instincts. If they dig in the yard, they might be entertaining themselves or trying to cool off. If they chew, they may just need to release tension. Rather than suppressing, redirect the behavior towards something positive. For example, offer a designated digging spot or a specific chew toy, and when they use it, give a reward. The key is not punishment, but teaching and providing alternatives that keep them positively engaged. And now, before we move on, just know that if you visit happydogsplace.com/gift, you can download a free guide packed with tips to make your dog's life even happier. It's full of fun ideas, helpful strategies, and all the basics every pup needs to thrive. You'll find the link in the description. Mistake number 17. Punishing fearful behavior. Be very careful here. Never punish your dog for feeling afraid. Thunderstorms, fireworks, or even the vacuum can be truly scary for them. Some dogs are naturally more anxious or less confident than others, and that is not a flaw. It is part of who they are. Don't forget your dog is also highly sensitive to your emotions. If you stay calm, they can start to feel safer. When your dog shows fear, the last thing to do is punish them or force them closer to what terrifies them, because that only raises anxiety and damages their trust in you. The best response is patience. Sit beside them, speak softly, and pet them calmly. Those simple gestures teach them they are in a safe place and can lean on you. Likewise, their safe place should never turn into a prison. Here is more on that next. Mistake number 18. Using the crate as punishment. A crate or carrier should be a sanctuary for your dog, a place to relax and feel protected. If you turn it into a punishment spot, all you do is make them associate it with fear and isolation. Do you really want their one refuge to also be the place you send them when they misbehave? Instead, make the crate a positive space. Add a comfy blanket, include safe toys, and offer rewards every time they go in on their own. Little by little, they'll understand that inside they can find calm and comfort. That way, when a trip, a noisy visit, or a storm comes along, the crate works as a valuable refuge, not a reminder of past punishment. We've been talking about emotions, trust, and those little everyday gestures that deeply affect how your dog feels around you. But of course, loving them a lot does not automatically mean they will listen to you the first time. Sometimes you say sit, and they look at you as if you just asked them to read you a poem. So now we're going to move into another area that also makes a huge difference in your daily life together: training. There are 12 mistakes that can make your dog ignore everything you say, almost as if they were the one holding the remote. The good news is that once you fix them, your dog will start looking at you with that expression of, "Got it, I know what you want. Let's see what they are." Mistake number 1. Using inconsistent cues. Picture this. You tell your dog sit, your partner says down, and your kids shout stay for the very same behavior. Does this sound familiar? Your dog hears 3 totally different words and has no idea what you actually want them to do. Here's what you need to understand. Dogs don't process language like we do. They memorize sound patterns and link them to actions. If you change the words, you're basically speaking several languages at once. That creates real stress because your dog wants to please you but can't figure out the rules. The mix-ups can happen with any cue: quiet and hush to stop barking, sit and stay to keep them from moving, or off and down to get off the couch. Every variation feels like a brand new command to your dog. The result? Training progress stalls, and your dog loses confidence because nothing seems to make sense. The fix is simple. Choose one word per behavior and make sure everyone at home uses that exact same word every time. Now that we've covered what to say, it's time to dial in when to say it and what results to expect. Mistake number 2. Lack of patience. Blocking off 2 hours on Saturday to teach stay and expecting perfection by Monday is asking your dog's brain to do the impossible. Learning actually consolidates during the breaks between sessions. Long marathons overload the brain, shrink attention, and leave a bad aftertaste. It's far more effective to train in 5 to 10-minute sessions with breaks. Set small, measurable goals. For example, hold a stay for 3 seconds with a mild distraction, then raise the bar the next day. Reinforce what goes well, and switch to a different exercise before your dog gets tired. In training, patience teaches as much as the treats. Now let's look at another mistake that often shows up when patience runs low. Mistake number 3. Yelling or harsh punishment. Yelling can stop a behavior in the moment, but over time it creates a bigger problem. It raises stress, blocks working memory, and makes your dog associate the situation with fear, not learning. The result is a dog who shuts down or reacts more, not one who understands what to do. Do you want real obedience from your dog, or just tense silence? A calm and brief intervention works best. Interrupt the behavior with a no, guide your dog to the right alternative, and reward the calm. A dog who trusts you chooses to listen because they respect you. Clear rules and a steady tone build trust. Sometimes, without raising your voice, we fall into another very common mistake. We reinforce what we don't want. Mistake number 4. Accidentally reinforcing unwanted behavior. Your dog jumps on visitors and you pet them to calm them down. They bark for attention and you say quiet while making eye contact. Innocent gestures, right? You just rewarded exactly what you don't want. Dogs interpret any attention as a reward, even negative attention. If you touch, talk to, or even look at your dog while they're doing something you don't want, you're telling them it works and to repeat it. Jumping earns petting, barking earns eye contact, begging at the table earns a response from you. What's the alternative? Teach what does work to get your attention. Consistently ignore the unwanted behavior and reinforce the opposite. When the barking dog sits quietly, that's when you give attention and treats. Dogs quickly learn which actions bring good things. Mistake number 5. Skipping socialization. Many people think socialization means going to the dog park, but real socialization is exposing a puppy to people of different ages, sounds, environments, surfaces, and experiences, while their brain is still developing. Dogs who miss this stage often grow into adults who fear strangers, react aggressively to new things, or shut down during routine activities like vet visits or car rides. The link between early experiences and adult behavior is direct. What your puppy doesn't meet in time will scare them later. Poorly socialized dogs struggle with delivery drivers, kids in costumes, construction noise, or even simple things like automatic doors. Between 8 and 20 weeks, a puppy's brain is primed to accept novelty with curiosity. That's why a safe, smart socialization plan is highly recommended. Go to well-run puppy classes, make short visits to calm places, and let your puppy hear gentle versions of different sounds. And here's a very helpful tip. During this stage, practice gentle handling of paws and ears. This makes vet visits and any at-home care much easier when they're older. Now watch out for the next mistake. Mistake number 6. Training sessions that are too long. Dogs' attention spans are closer to toddlers than teenagers. What looks like stubbornness during training is often mental fatigue. The brain simply runs out of processing power. Most dogs can focus intensely for 5 to 15 minutes before their brain needs a break. Pushing past that point creates frustration and can undo progress you made earlier in the session. 3 10-minute sessions spread throughout the day teach more than a 1-hour marathon. It's best to alternate easy and hard exercises, change positions, and add active breaks with a short sniffing game so they can reset. There's something else to keep in mind. Even perfect session length won't help if the timing of rewards and corrections is off. Mistake number 7. Poor timing with rewards or corrections. You have about 3 seconds to link a behavior to its consequence. Miss that window and your dog won't know what you're responding to. Dogs live in the present. They don't review or analyze what happened 5 minutes ago like humans do. That's where timing confusion comes from. Imagine your dog destroys a piece of furniture at home. You arrive 2 hours later and get angry. In your dog's mind, your anger is associated with your arrival, not the broken furniture. That creates a learning mess, where your dog gets mixed signals about which behaviors actually matter. Common timing mistakes include delivering the treat too late after the correct response to a cue, and praising for finally stopping barking instead of reinforcing quiet. Poor timing accidentally reinforces the wrong behaviors. The solution demands immediate responses. Curry treats, use a marker word like yes to instantly mark the correct behavior, and give the reward. Let's look at another mistake you should avoid at all costs. Mistake number 8. Expecting the dog to simply know things. Dogs aren't preloaded with human house rules. They're born understanding group dynamics, not living room table manners. Human reasoning runs on abstract concepts and moral ideas. Canine reasoning runs on direct cause and effect. Your dog doesn't think stealing your food is morally wrong. They think there's food within reach, so they eat it. Dogs learn our expectations through consistent teaching and repetition. They need hundreds of reps to grasp complex human rules like not touching certain items or not climbing on certain furniture. Common assumptions include believing they know they shouldn't chew expensive objects, that they understand property boundaries, or that they recognize a behavior as inappropriate based on context. Those expectations lead to unfair punishments when they break rules they never truly learned. Instead of hoping for intuitive understanding, teach every boundary clearly. Show them what they can chew, where they can sleep, and when it's time to play. Mistake number 9. Overusing treats without fading them. Treats are great for teaching new behaviors, but they turn into a dependency if your dog only responds to edible bribery. When your dog works only for food, they stop listening the moment the treats disappear. That can be a big problem if you head out for a walk and your treat pouch is empty. To prevent that, gradually reduce how often you give treats while increasing other rewards. Those can be petting, play, or warm verbal praise. Over time, your dog will respond to your voice and get food only occasionally. This systematic approach keeps motivation high and builds real obedience that doesn't rely on constant bribery. Now pay attention to the next part, because most people miss it. Mistake number 10. Training only indoors. Does your dog sit perfectly in the living room, but the minute you step outside, it seems like they forgot everything? It's not that they don't want to obey. Their brain simply doesn't understand that the same cue applies in different places. To them, sit in the kitchen and in the park are almost two different things. Every environment brings new smells, sounds, and distractions. Squirrels, cars, other dogs, and your voice has to compete with all of it. It's normal if at first they act like they don't know anything. They just need practice in that context to understand it. The solution is to move forward step by step. Start in quiet spots like your front entryway or an empty parking lot, then level up with more distractions. The yard, the sidewalk, the park. Remember to practice the most important cues outside, like stay, come, and leave it. Those are the ones that really make a difference in real-life situations. And don't forget something key. Don't compare your dog to others. Here's why. Mistake number 11. Comparing your dog to others. There's always someone at the park bragging about how fast their dog learns. Maybe the neighbor's Golden learned to sit in 3 days, and yours is still struggling after 2 weeks. Comparison only breeds frustration. Every dog has their own pace. Age matters, breed plays a role, and past experiences weigh a lot. A confident puppy might move fast, while a rescue dog needs more patience to build trust. Neither one is better or worse. They simply have different histories and motivations. When you compare, pressure shows up. You get frustrated, your dog feels it, and training stops being fun. If it isn't fun, learning slows down. What really matters is celebrating your dog's wins, even the small ones. Maybe today they held eye contact 1 second longer, or finally approached without fear in the yard. Those are huge steps for them. Every dog has their own timeline. Walking it with patience and joy will take you both much farther. Mistake number 12. Ending on a sour note. Picture this. After several failed attempts with a new trick, you put the treats away feeling frustrated, and your dog is left not understanding a thing. The next day, they don't show the same eagerness to train. This happens because dogs remember how experiences end. If you close with a failure, what your dog takes with them isn't the lesson, it's the feeling of frustration. That emotion gets stored as the summary of the whole session. The key is to always finish with a sure win. Even if practice was tough, ask for a cue your dog already masters, like sit, and celebrate that success with their reward. This way your dog leaves happy, motivated, and ready to come back for more. You'll also feel that training flows much better. Small training mistakes can easily make your dog stare at you with that "I have no idea what this means" face. But there is something else that can completely undo all your hard work: how your dog feels on the inside. A dog that lives nervous or worried is not going to pay attention or learn properly, no matter how much you try. So in this part, we're going to focus on those tiny daily details that can quietly raise their anxiety without you noticing. And the best part is that by correcting these 15 mistakes, you can help your dog live much calmer, happier, and more relaxed. Let's go through them. Mistake number 1. Ignoring your dog's body language. Many owners believe their dogs are fine when they have actually been saying the opposite for a while. A repeated yawn even when they're not sleepy, lip licking when there's no food around, or a tail tucked between the legs are clear signs of discomfort. Did you know that many behaviors later labeled as bad behavior actually start with these small warnings that go unnoticed? When you ignore these signals, your dog's anxiety builds up until it explodes as destructive chewing, barking, or even aggression. Your dog has been trying to talk to you for a long time, but if you do not understand their language, it is like turning your back on them. Learning to read their body language is the key to stopping the problem before it escalates. And if reading their body language is key, giving them security through routine is just as important. Mistake number 2. Changing routines suddenly. Dogs truly love routine. Knowing when they will eat, when they will go for a walk, and when they will rest is part of the safety they feel day to day. When you suddenly change schedules, even if it seems minor to you, for them it is a huge shift. Imagine one day dinner is at 5 p.m., another day at 8 p.m., and another day you don't even know if it will happen. Wouldn't you feel uneasy? That is exactly what happens to your dog. Unpredictable walks or off-schedule meals make them feel like their basic needs might not be met, and that uncertainty generates anxiety. They do not understand that you have a new work schedule or that you got distracted. They only feel insecure. The solution is to keep stable schedules and, if you need to change them, do it gradually. And if routine is essential, the next point matters even more. Mistake number 3. Skipping daily exercise. A dog without enough physical activity is like a pressure cooker ready to blow. All that energy they do not release builds up in their body and ends up coming out as destructive behavior, barking, or what many call anxiety. But it is not pure anxiety, it is pent-up energy. Have you noticed that after a long walk, your dog settles down and relaxes? It's no coincidence. Exercise helps release stress hormones, reduces tension, and calms the mind. A physically tired dog is a more balanced dog. When they do not have that natural outlet, their mind races and they become hypervigilant, alert to every noise or movement. The solution is as simple as giving them exercise suited to their age and breed. It can be long walks, fetch games, agility courses, or hiking. Movement is medicine. And speaking of health, even your home's lighting can make a difference. Mistake number 4. Leaving the house completely dark. Leaving your dog in total darkness might seem fine, but for many it is a huge source of anxiety. It is true they see better than we do in low light, but complete darkness amplifies sounds, triggers fears, and turns a familiar place into something strange. What could have been a quiet night becomes hours of restlessness and hypervigilance. Something as simple as leaving a small light on can be the difference between a relaxed dog and one who spends the night uneasy. And if light matters more than it seems, let's talk about something even more important. Mistake number 5. Using strong household cleaners. What smells clean to you can be unbearable for your dog. They have more than 300 million scent receptors, and their nose picks up odors with an intensity we cannot imagine. Think about how bleach smells to you. Now multiply that by 50. Do you see why it can be so stressful for them? When you use cleaners with ammonia or harsh chemicals, your dog starts to associate their own home with discomfort. What should be a safe refuge becomes an uncomfortable place. Over time, a simple cleaning habit ends up affecting their well-being. The good news is, there are much safer alternatives, like vinegar, baking soda, or enzyme-based cleaners. They keep your home just as clean, and your dog does not live with that sensory overload. And if we are talking about safety, there is something even more basic. I will tell you in the next section. Mistake number 6. Not giving them a safe zone. By instinct, dogs look for a space that is just theirs, a spot to relax, escape noise, and feel protected. The problem is when they do not have it, they live on high alert. Have you noticed some dogs get much more nervous during storms or when guests are over? It is because they have nowhere to retreat. Without a place to withdraw, they feel exposed and out of control, which increases anxiety. Even the most confident dogs need a corner to unplug from the world when everything is too much. It can be a bed in a quiet corner or a crate where they know no one will bother them. The interesting thing is that when you give them their own space, they end up feeling more secure and confident outside of it. And speaking of confidence, the next section covers something that breaks it quickly. Mistake number 7. Forcing unwanted interactions. Pushing your dog to greet strangers or other dogs does not make them more social, it makes them less secure. It is like forcing a shy person to speak in front of a crowd. Do you think that will give them confidence? On the contrary, it only creates more anxiety. Every time your dog is forced to interact, they record that experience as negative. And next time, they will be more worried, not more confident. When you respect their limits, the opposite happens. They feel safe, and little by little they choose to approach on their own. The key is to give them control and reward calm behavior around other dogs. Let your dog decide when and how to interact. With patience, interactions become positive and natural. And although social relationships are key, there is another mistake that greatly increases their anxiety. Mistake number 8. Many hours alone without stimulation. Many owners think that if they leave their dog alone for 8 or 9 hours, they will sleep the whole time. But dogs are social animals, and prolonged solitude with nothing to do becomes a mix of boredom and anxiety. What happens then? Their minds start spinning. They start thinking, when will my human be back? What if they're not coming back? From there come behaviors like pacing around the house, staring out the window, or even non-stop barking. Lack of mental stimulation combined with isolation is one of the fastest ways to end up with an anxious dog. The solution is to break up that long wait. You can use interactive toys that release treats, puzzle feeders, or hire a dog walker to split the day. Now let's look at another problem that happens more than you think. Mistake number 9. Not socializing gradually. Many people think that to socialize a shy dog, it is enough to take them to a crowded dog park. But that is the perfect recipe for things to go wrong. Imagine being dropped without warning into a room with 50 strangers all talking to you at once. Would you relax? Probably not. When a dog is suddenly surrounded by several excited dogs, their brain files that memory as a traumatic episode. The result is more fear and less confidence going forward. Socialization works, but only if it is done little by little. Plan calm, one-on-one meetings at some distance, and only get closer when the dog looks comfortable. That gradual exposure builds confidence, while overload creates anxiety. Mistake number 10. Skipping mental stimulation. A dog who is physically tired can still be anxious if their mind has not worked enough. Long walks are great, but they are not everything. Without mental challenges, your dog will find their own entertainment, and that usually means chewing furniture, raiding the trash, or digging up the yard. The good news is that stimulating their mind is simple. Scent games, puzzle feeders, short training sessions, or hiding treats around the house turn their time into learning and fun. These activities tire them out more than you think. 10 minutes of brain games can equal a 30-minute walk. And best of all, they reduce anxiety by giving your dog a clear goal. Even the best game or walk won't help if you don't take care of what I'm going to cover next. Mistake number 11. Neglecting quality sleep. Sleeping well isn't a luxury. It's a vital need for your dog. Just like us, they need long, uninterrupted cycles to process stress and reset their nervous system. When sleep is interrupted over and over, anxiety builds up. Have you noticed that a tired dog reacts more to noises, startles easily, or seems more irritable? It's not a coincidence. Lack of quality rest keeps their brain from regulating emotions properly. This is why you should give them a quiet, comfortable, interruption-free space away from the household hustle. A place where no one bothers them and they can sleep soundly. Quality sleep is the foundation of a calmer dog. If sleep is a natural calmer, play can be too, as long as you avoid the next mistake. Mistake number 12. Overstimulating during play. Play is essential for your dog, but too much can be as harmful as too little. Many people think the more excited they get, the more fun they're having. The truth is, crossing that thin line turns fun into stress. When a dog gets over-aroused, their nervous system stays revved up and they cannot settle afterward. Instead of ending tired and satisfied, they stay anxious and restless, with adrenaline still surging. The key is to keep play sessions controlled, with a clear beginning and end, and always stop before they are out of control. Balanced play releases energy, strengthens your bond, and calms the mind, while chaotic play creates more stress than it relieves. Mistake number 13. Scolding, often without teaching the right behavior. Constantly saying no to your dog doesn't teach them anything. If your dog jumps, nips, or barks and only gets corrections, they end up not knowing what to do instead. How would you react if all you heard were criticisms and no one ever explained what is right? Exactly, you'd lose the motivation to try. The same happens to them. They feel confused and insecure, and they end up anxious. The key isn't to scold less, it's to guide more. If they jump, teach a sit and reward that behavior. If they chew a shoe, offer their toy and celebrate when they use it. Showing the alternative turns frustration into learning, and most importantly, it restores your dog's confidence. Speaking of confidence, there is something that breaks it in seconds. I will explain it in the next section. Mistake number 14. Ignoring noise sensitivity. Dogs hear much more than we do, and what is just background noise to you can be a major anxiety trigger for them. Thunder, fireworks, or even street construction keep them on edge because they cannot predict when the next boom will happen. It is normal to see dogs tremble or hide at those times. What they feel is pure fear. If they do not have a refuge where they feel protected, their anxiety only grows. This is why it is so important to prepare a calm, protected space. You can add blankets to dampen sounds or play white noise to mask loud sounds. We cannot control the outside world, but we can give them a place where they feel safe. Mistake number 15. Not enough physical affection. Physical contact is much more than a sweet gesture. It is an emotional need. Gently petting your dog releases hormones that reduce stress and strengthen your bond. When this contact is missing, some dogs become more insecure and anxious because they feel their connection with you is getting weaker. Isn't it amazing that something as simple as a gentle touch can have so much power? It's not about hugging them non-stop, it's about small daily moments. You can do a slow stroke behind the ears, a soft belly massage when they are relaxed, or simply rest your hand on their back when they are lying down. That contact communicates calm and safety. Many anxious dogs simply need more physical closeness to feel protected. We've just seen how to help your dog when something makes them feel uneasy, but there are also situations that look like pure fun and still can turn into a problem before you even realize it. I'm talking about playtime. Playing together is fantastic, but if we make certain mistakes, that super fun moment can end in scares, injuries, or even bad habits that are hard to change later. So now we're going to look at which things you should avoid so that play stays play and does not turn into a headache. Your dog will still have a great time and you'll be able to relax knowing you're doing it right. Mistake number 1. Throwing sticks. Sticks seem like the perfect choice. They are everywhere, they cost nothing, and your dog has a blast with them. But let's be honest, is it worth it if that quick game could end with your dog at the emergency vet? Sticks are not designed to be chewed. They splinter, sharp ends can lodge in your dog's mouth or throat, and fragments can travel to the stomach without you noticing. Many dogs also snatch them mid-air, and one bad angle is enough to cause a serious cut on the tongue or gums. If you like this kind of play, choose rubber balls or toys made for throwing. They bounce well, hold up to play, and do not turn into blades. Your dog has just as much fun without the unnecessary risk. And if sticks aren't a good idea, using your hands as the toy isn't a good idea either. Mistake number 2. Roughhousing with your hands. That living room wrestling match might feel fun, but it actually sends your dog a very confusing message. If you let your dog bite or shove your hands during play, they learn that people are a valid target for teeth and paws. The problem? They will not tell the difference between an adult who enjoys rough play and a child or an elderly person who could get hurt. A shove that feels playful to you could knock someone down or scratch their skin. Instead of using your hands, offer tug ropes or chew toys so they can burn energy safely. That way you keep the physical play your dog loves while keeping everyone safe. And speaking of toys, be careful about what you choose for play with your dog. Mistake number 3. Using unsafe household items. Old sneakers, an empty bottle, or a rope from the garage can seem like perfect entertainment, but they are a trap. Your dog won't tell the difference between those old, okay sneakers and the new pair in the closet, so your shoes will always be at risk. These items also break in dangerous ways. Plastic bottles crack into sharp pieces, ropes fray into threads that can be swallowed, and shoe soles carry chemicals that can upset their stomach. Vets often see obstructions and internal injuries from these kinds of toys. There is no excuse here. Invest in chew toys and balls designed for dogs. These toys are built to handle chewing without breaking into dangerous pieces. And a tip, it's better to have fewer, higher-quality toys than a pile of questionable ones. Mistake number 4. Playing tug of war without rules. Tug of war is a great game, but only if it is set up well. Can your dog start whenever they want, ramp up the intensity, and refuse to let go? Then it is not a game. It is a contest to win the toy. If your dog grabs the toy, pulls with all their strength, and never releases, they are learning that they don't have to listen. To prevent that, teach a start cue like take it and an end cue like drop it. It also helps to keep rounds short, about 10 to 15 seconds. That way you turn tug of war into an excellent tool for self-control and bonding, not a free-for-all. Mistake number 5. Overloading puppies. Puppies seem to have endless batteries. They can run and jump non-stop, which can tempt you to stretch play sessions too long. But their bodies cannot keep up with their enthusiasm. If you push for jumps, long sprints, or very intense games, you could be setting up mobility problems later. Jumping on hard surfaces or repeating sharp turns creates micro-injuries that can turn into arthritis years later. In fact, a study from the Ohio State University Veterinary Medical Center found that starting jump training at younger ages was associated with higher injury risk. The ideal plan is varied play, short sessions, frequent breaks, and plenty of mental and scent work. That protects healthy growth, while feeding curiosity and learning. Mistake number 6. Ignoring size differences between dogs. Watching a Great Dane play with a Chihuahua looks adorable, but it is risky. What feels like gentle play for a big dog can overwhelm or injure a small one, even without any aggressive intent. Large, fast dogs don't always control their momentum around tiny playmates. It's common to see trampling during chases and accidental bites that are too forceful for a small dog. Small dogs also often show stress signals that are easy to miss, so you should always supervise play and, if needed, rotate turns or create escape zones for smaller or more fragile dogs. That way, everyone enjoys the game without added risk. Mistake number 7. Using tennis balls with hard chewers. Tennis balls seem like the perfect toy. They bounce well, feel soft, and most dogs love them. But that fuzzy felt acts like fine sandpaper. A little casual fetch now and then is fine, but heavy chewing wears down their tooth enamel. And if the ball is dirty with sand or grit, the effect is even worse. Old tennis balls can also split and release large chunks that can become a choking hazard. Use smooth, durable rubber balls designed for dogs instead. They deliver the same fetch fun while protecting their teeth in the long run. Mistake number 8. Letting dogs play on slippery floors. Indoor play can seem safer than going outside with no cars or distractions, but smooth hardwood or tile floors are like a skating rink for your dog. Their paws do not have enough traction, and with each quick turn, they risk slipping and crashing into furniture or walls. There is another, less obvious risk. Every skid strains ligaments and muscles, and the effort to stay balanced adds constant stress to joints. A single slip can cause a torn cruciate ligament or a dislocated kneecap, both injuries that often require surgery and a long recovery. Even if nothing seems wrong at the time, tiny repeated microtraumas can wear down mobility over the years. What's the fix? Move play to grassy areas or to carpeted or rubber mat surfaces that provide traction and prevent unnecessary falls. Mistake number 9. Too much high-intensity fetch. Earlier I mentioned the texture problem with tennis balls, but now I want to talk about the game itself. Many dogs would spend hours chasing a ball, which can make us think it's the perfect exercise. The reality is that this very common game can have several downsides. To start, there is a physical problem. Every leap to catch a ball in the air and every hard stop on the front legs puts enormous stress on the joints. That repeated microtrauma wears down cartilage and ligaments, and over the years takes a toll on your dog's health. Veterinarians with canine arthritis management note that up to 80% of dogs over 8 have arthritis, and many cases are linked to this kind of high-impact activity. The other drawback is emotional. Repeated ball throwing triggers the prey drive, but the problem is that your dog never gets to catch real prey. This overexcites them and can make them obsessive, unable to relax or interact normally with other dogs. Cutting back on this kind of play and keeping it to short rounds is the best way to keep your dog healthy and balanced. Mistake number 10. Playing right after meals. Most dog trainers recommend feeding after the walk, and that applies to playtime too. Here is why. Intense exercise on a full stomach sets the stage for gastric dilatation volvulus. When this happens, the full stomach expands and can twist, trapping gas and cutting off blood flow. It is a surgical emergency that can be fatal within hours. Deep-chested breeds like German Shepherds and Great Danes are especially vulnerable, although no dog is completely safe. Symptoms like a swollen belly, unproductive retching, or extreme restlessness are red flags you cannot ignore. Is it really worth the risk? Wait 1 to 2 hours after meals before any intense activity. Mistake number 11. Ignoring signs of overheating. Panting during play can seem normal, but it can be the first sign of heat stroke. Unlike people, dogs don't sweat. They regulate temperature by panting, and when excited, they may not notice they are overheating. Short-nosed breeds like bulldogs or pugs have an even harder time because their anatomy limits airflow and raises heat faster. Heat stroke can escalate fast, moving from heavy panting to disorientation, collapse, and, if untreated, organ failure. According to veterinary studies, roughly 14% of affected dogs do not survive. That is why it is vital to spot early signs like excessive drooling, poor coordination, or weakness, and stop play immediately to protect your dog's life. Mistake number 12. Using laser pointers. At first glance, a laser pointer looks like the perfect game. You don't have to throw anything, and your dog sprints like crazy. But have you thought about what happens when your dog never gets to catch anything during the game? Because of a natural hunting instinct, your dog expects to catch a prey item as a reward, but with a laser that never happens, the result is frustration and often obsessive behaviors. Some dogs keep searching for lights or shadows long after the pointer is turned off. That cycle of excitement with no payoff raises anxiety and can lead to compulsive behaviors that are hard to fix. If you want a chase game, choose toys your dog can actually catch and carry, like rope toys or sturdy plush toys. That way they satisfy the hunting instinct without the frustration. Mistake number 13. Not rotating toys. Leaving all of your dog's toys out all the time feels kind, but it actually makes them boring. The novelty fades, and your dog can feel mentally understimulated even when surrounded by stuff. Worse, boredom fuels unwanted behaviors like chewing furniture, digging, or non-stop barking. And if toys stop feeling special, they lose power as rewards in training. The fix is simple. Rotate toys, put some away, and swap them each week so they feel new again. It is an easy, free trick that helps prevent both boredom and anxiety. Mistake number 14. Ignoring signs of fatigue during play. When your dog stops in the middle of play, you might think they are just catching their breath. But what if they are actually asking for a break? Heavy panting, seeking shade, or moving away from the action are clear signs they need to stop. Pushing them to continue in that state turns play into a source of stress and can lead to injury or anxiety. Canine behavior experts advise trusting your gut and taking a break as soon as you notice these signs. Respecting limits keeps the experience positive and prevents your dog from linking play with exhaustion or discomfort. Mistake number 15. Using old or broken toys. Your dog's favorite toys will eventually show bite marks, tears, and cracks. That worn look may feel endearing, but it is actually dangerous. Breaks create sharp edges or small pieces that can cause choking or injuries to the mouth and throat. Frayed ropes create threads that can tangle around the tongue or esophagus. Loose rubber bits can block the airway. Many of these accidents end in emergency surgery that you could avoid with a simple periodic checkup. Check toy condition regularly and replace damaged ones right away. It is better to toss a toy in time than to risk an emergency vet visit. Mistake number 16. Not teaching the cue, drop it. Many dogs drop a toy when they get bored, so teaching a formal drop it can feel unnecessary. But if one day your dog picks up something dangerous like a sharp object or toxic food, you will need them to let go immediately. Without a reliable drop it, you cannot act quickly. Teaching this cue prevents conflicts, stops them from swallowing something harmful, and lets you handle emergencies calmly. A good drop it doesn't just make play safer, it also strengthens the bond, because your dog learns that trusting you always brings a reward. Playing together strengthens your bond, but that bond is also put to the test the moment you both step outside. Out on the street, your dog relies on you to feel safe, to understand what is going on around them, and to enjoy the walk without worries. The way you take your dog out really affects their well-being, their safety, and even how they behave once you get back home. And yes, there are also mistakes we make without realizing it. Let's see which ones you should avoid so that every walk becomes a truly positive experience for both you and your dog. Mistake number 1. Using the wrong collar or leash. The gear you choose makes all the difference for your dog's safety and comfort. Many people still use collars out of habit, but the reality is that a well-fitted harness spreads pressure across the chest and back, protecting the neck and trachea. Is it really worth risking your dog's health instead of making such a simple switch? Another mistake is using retractable leashes like Flexi. They can seem convenient, but they create more problems than they solve. When a roughly 50-pound dog hits the end of a 20-foot leash at full speed, that sudden jolt can injure both the dog and the person. On top of that, the mechanism doesn't let you quickly regain reliable control. The best alternative is a flat leash about 10 or 16 feet long. It gives your dog enough room to explore and sniff calmly while still keeping safe control at all times. With the right gear, walks become comfortable, safe, and far more enriching for both of you. And there's another problem you can run into even with the right gear, and it shows up when you approach other dogs. Mistake number 2. Approaching unknown dogs without asking first. There's something you should always keep in mind on walks. When dogs are on leash, their interactions change completely. They don't have escape routes, and that can turn a normal greeting into a tense moment. A calm dog may growl or pull simply because they can't move away. Imagine how uncomfortable it would be if someone hugged you without asking first. For dogs, it's similar. Even very social dogs can react badly if another dog walks straight up without warning. The leash removes the option to flee, and what's left is an animal that feels cornered and has to decide in seconds how to protect themselves. That's where many conflicts come from, which owners label as aggression, when really they're the result of a poorly managed greeting. The solution is simple. Before you approach, always ask the other person. That small gesture gives both sides time to read body language and decide whether the greeting is safe or not. Keeping a bit of distance when needed prevents close calls and lets dogs communicate more naturally. Taking care with these interactions protects your dog, but there are other dangers that don't come from other animals. Mistake number 3. Walking through risky areas. A simple sidewalk can hide more hazards than you think, and it's your job to watch for them. That greenish puddle by a car isn't water. It could be antifreeze. Worse, its sweet taste can be very appealing to dogs, even though just a few drops can be deadly. The same goes for food scraps on the ground. You might run into chocolate, gum with xylitol, or chicken bones that can splinter in the stomach. Construction zones are another minefield. Nails or sharp metal pieces can pierce paw pads and cause deep wounds. In winter, road salt burns paws and leaves painful cuts between the toes. And in spring, foxtails, those barbed grass-ons, are a real problem. They can enter the skin and migrate inside the body, causing serious infections. What's the fix? Scouting your route ahead of time and choosing safer areas changes everything. A well-kept park or a clean sidewalk removes most of these risks. Your dog explores in peace, and you walk without worrying about an emergency vet visit. Avoiding these hazards protects their body. But now let's talk about something that directly affects their mind. Mistake number 4. Not letting your dog sniff. For a dog, scenting is like reading the neighborhood paper. Every scent trail tells them who passed by, how the weather changed, and what messages other dogs left. Best of all, that mental work tires them out more than a brisk walk. Do you really want to deny such a natural way to understand the world? When you drag your dog along so they won't stop to sniff because you feel you've already spent enough time in the same spot, you strip the walk of its value. The outing turns into a boring routine instead of a stimulating experience. Studies in canine behavior show that dogs who can sniff calmly come back more relaxed and satisfied than those who only speed walk. That's why building in sniff breaks isn't a luxury, it's a need. That way the walk becomes real mental training. But careful, because giving freedom without good control can become risky. Here's why. Mistake number 5. Letting your dog off leash without a rock-solid recall. Freedom sounds great, but it can backfire if your dog doesn't truly respond to recall. Coming when called in the backyard doesn't mean they'll do it in a park full of distractions. Do you honestly think they'll run straight to you when they see another dog, a cat, or a squirrel? Many owners trust too soon. They think their come works because they've practiced at home, but outside, instincts weigh a lot more. That's why so many dogs get lost or end up in danger. One loud noise, an unexpected animal, or an irresistible scent can make all that practice disappear. The solution is to progress gradually. I recommend using long lines of about 16 or 33 feet, training in fenced parks, and only then trying open spaces. That way you build a truly reliable recall before unclipping the leash entirely If you let your dog off leash before recall is solid, you're making a very dangerous mistake. And now let's move on to another mistake that 99.9% of people make. Mistake number 6. Looking at your phone instead of paying attention to your dog. Every walk is a chance to communicate with your dog, but if you're glued to your phone, you'll miss it. A slight limp, heavy panting, or a droopy ear are signs something isn't right. If you don't notice them, a small issue can turn into an emergency. Plus, when you're distracted by the screen, you stop anticipating what's happening around you. Cars, bikes, other dogs. All of that raises the risk of accidents. Is answering a text really worth it if your dog ends up in danger? There's another side effect you might not see. If your dog learns that subtle signals don't work, they'll turn up the volume. They'll go from looking away or tightening the leash to barking, pulling, or reacting more sharply just to get your attention. Walking without your phone in your face doesn't only improve safety, it strengthens your bond. You pay attention, your dog feels heard, and you both enjoy the walk more. And there's one more thing that can ruin a walk even if you're not on your phone. Here's what it is. Mistake number 7. Rushing the walk. Hate to break it to you, but a quick 10-minute potty walk isn't enough. If you always head out with no time to spare, your dog misses both the physical exercise and mental stimulation they need. Have you noticed that sometimes after a short walk, your dog seems to have more energy than before? That's a sign the walk wasn't enough. Canine behavior specialists are clear. A lack of full quality walks is behind common issues like chewing things at home, nonstop barking, or constant demands for attention. It's not that your dog is disobedient, it's that they're not getting what they need to feel balanced. A good walk doesn't mean moving fast or covering miles. It means quality time, letting them sniff, move at their pace, explore, and release the energy they need to let go. The calmer and more complete the walk, the more relaxed your dog will be at home. Think of walk time as an investment. When the walk is good, you get a happier, healthier dog and much calmer evenings, even if you improve walk quality. Don't make the next mistake. Mistake number 8. Walking only once a day. Many people assume one long daily walk is enough, but a dog's body doesn't run on our schedule. Their system needs to eliminate waste about every 6 to 8 hours to empty the bladder and bowels in a healthy way. Forcing them to hold it that long isn't just uncomfortable. It can lead to urinary problems over time. Their energy isn't steady either. In the morning, there's often a burst. Midday can be boring if they don't get out. And by evening, they're wound up if they haven't spent enough energy. Does your dog get a bit wild at night? Often it's because walks weren't spaced out. Several shorter walks are better than one very long one. 3 20-minute outings beat a single 60-minute marathon. That way your dog stays more balanced, spends energy gradually, and avoids health issues. Mistake number 9. Ignoring the weather. In summer, asphalt can turn into a scorching hot frying pan. When the air temperature is around 86 degrees Fahrenheit, asphalt can exceed 140 degrees. Can you imagine walking barefoot on that? Your dog's paw pads can burn in seconds, and healing can take weeks. In winter, the opposite happens. Extreme cold can cause frostbite, and road salt can create painful chemical burns. Worse, many dogs lick to soothe the discomfort, end up ingesting that salt, and develop digestive issues. A quick trick is to place your palm on the ground. If you can't hold it, your dog can't either. Choosing the right time of day for walks will help you avoid lots of problems. Even if the weather cooperates, there's one thing you should never skip during summer walks. Here it is. Mistake number 10. Walking without bringing water. Dogs don't sweat like we do. They cool down by panting, which means they lose water with every breath. If they don't rehydrate, their body overheats fast, and heat stroke can develop in minutes. Early warning signs include heavy panting and thick drool. Then comes sluggishness, reddened gums, and poor coordination. If they still don't drink, the problem can escalate to vomiting, collapse, and even organ failure. Is it really worth risking that just to avoid carrying a small water bottle? Bring fresh water and offer it every 10 to 15 minutes. A portable dog water bottle or a collapsible bowl makes it quick and easy. That way your dog stays cool and also feels cared for. Keeping the body hydrated is key, but you also need to read what your dog is saying during the walk. Mistake number 11. Ignoring body language. Dogs don't speak with words, but they do speak with their bodies. Ears back, tail tucked, head lowered. These are all signs of discomfort or fear. The problem is many owners miss them, so the dog has to get louder with growls, barking, or hard pulling. That dog who suddenly became reactive likely spent weeks showing small stress signals, and the one who refuses a certain street isn't being stubborn. Something there feels scary. What if instead of forcing it, we listen to what our dogs are trying to tell us? Trainers repeat it all the time. When we ignore early signals, the problem only grows. Dogs learn that soft gestures don't work and switch to much bigger behaviors. Watching and respecting body language turns the walk into two-way communication, and that builds trust. Mistake number 12. Always taking the same route. Walking the same path every day might be easiest for you, but for your dog, it gets monotonous. Scents stop surprising them, stimuli become predictable, and the walk loses a lot of its value. Wouldn't you get bored walking the same street with nothing new to discover? Worse, that boredom shows up at home as hyperactivity, destruction, or constant demands for attention. Your dog doesn't just need movement. They need novelty too. Changing routes, exploring another neighborhood, or even mixing up the order of streets makes a big difference. It's a small effort for you with a huge payoff for your dog. Ideally, have several routes ready and rotate them depending on the day. That way, your dog comes home more relaxed, curious, and mentally engaged. Even though variety is essential, don't forget a crucial step many people skip after the walk. Mistake number 13. Not checking your dog after you get home. A quick post-walk check can prevent very serious problems. Foxtails, for example, act like tiny barbed arrows and can burrow under the skin, causing severe infections. They're not the only issue. Parasites are another danger. Ticks hiding between toes, behind ears, or under the coat can transmit serious diseases like Lyme disease, and in some regions, sandflies can spread leishmaniasis. And watch for small cuts on the paws. What starts as a little scrape can get infected and turn into an abscess in a few days if you don't clean it. Isn't 2 minutes worth it to avoid weeks of treatment? A quick look at paws, ears, and coat after each walk is enough to catch problems early. That keeps your dog healthy and gives you peace of mind. But it's not only about what your dog brings home, it's also about what we leave behind on the street. Mistake number 14. Not picking up your dog's poop. Leaving waste on the street isn't just a cleanliness issue, it's a public health problem. Rain washes it into rivers and groundwater, creating a pollution source comparable to industrial runoff. And it doesn't stop there. When many owners don't pick up, restrictions follow. Parks get closed, green space rules get tighter, and all owners end up paying for a few people's irresponsibility. Picking up poop is a tiny gesture that prevents huge problems. It protects public health, keeps shared spaces open, and shows respect for the community. Walks are a fundamental part of your dog's well-being, but they are not the whole story. For your dog to be healthy, strong, and full of energy, what they eat every day matters just as much. And even when we do everything with love, it is very easy to make mistakes with their food without noticing. Some of those mistakes can affect their digestion, their weight, or even their long-term health. So now we're going to look at which habits you should avoid so that every meal is genuinely good for them. Your dog will appreciate it far more than you think. Mistake number 1, feeding before walks. Pay close attention because this can have serious consequences. When a dog eats, blood flow to the stomach increases to help with digestion. If you have them walk or run right after, you interrupt that process and can cause serious digestive problems. The most serious is gastric dilatation volvulus, commonly called bloat. This happens when your dog's stomach fills with gas and twists. It can happen if your dog eats too fast, has a very heavy meal, or does intense exercise after eating. The consequences are serious, from pain and swelling to a veterinary emergency that may require surgery to save their life. It's more common in large or deep-chested dogs, but it can affect any breed. The fix is simple. Always feed after the walk, not before. Ideally, your dog should eat about 30 minutes after the walk, in the morning and at night. If for some reason they eat first, wait at least 1 to 2 hours before exercising. This tweak reduces the risk of vomiting and unnecessary emergencies and improves their comfort and digestion. And that brings us to another key point, not controlling how fast your dog eats. Mistake number 2, not controlling eating speed. Does your dog inhale their food in seconds? It might look funny when you see it, but it's actually risky behavior. Bolting down food raises the risk of choking, vomiting, and, in deep-chested breeds, gastric distension and torsion. When they swallow air along with the kibble, gas and discomfort build up, and mealtime becomes an anxious experience. The good news is you can slow that impulse with a few simple changes. Try a slow feeder bowl with obstacles or maze patterns, or split the daily portion into 3 or 4 smaller meals. You can also scatter the kibble on a clean floor so they have to hunt each piece, or place a large ball inside the bowl so they have to eat around it. Adding a splash of water to the kibble helps them take longer to eat and chew better. Going from 30 seconds to 5 minutes may seem minor, but it can make a huge difference. Digestion improves, anxiety drops, and mealtime becomes calm and positive for both of you. Let's move on to the next mistake. Mistake number 3. Sharing table scraps without knowing the risks. Sharing a little of your own food can feel loving, but many human foods can cause serious problems. Risks include sauces with garlic or onion, cooked bones that splinter, desserts with xylitol, grapes, raisins, and even chocolate. All of these can be toxic to your dog, even in small amounts. Even a simple grilled chicken breast can have too much salt or seasonings that irritate their stomach. And sure, when they give you those eyes, it's hard to resist, but is it worth risking their health for a bite of your dinner? The rule is simple. If you didn't prepare it with your dog in mind, don't give it. Keep safe options on hand like plain cooked chicken breast, carrots, cooked zucchini, seedless apple, or dog-specific treats. Avoid feeding from the table and offer their treat afterward, in their usual spot. Saying no at the right time is protecting them. And speaking of risky habits, don't overlook the next mistake. Mistake number 4, leaving food out all day. Keeping the bowl full all the time may seem convenient, but it brings more problems than you'd think. When a dog has constant access to food, they lose their natural sense of hunger and fullness, which can lead to weight gain or messy digestion. Plus, if they eat less one day, you won't know if they're sick or if they already grazed earlier. And you know what's worse? On hot days or with wet food, leftovers in the bowl quickly become a breeding ground for bacteria and bad smells. The fix is simple. Set feeding times, offer the portion, give it 10 to 15 minutes, and remove whatever they don't eat. In a few days, their appetite will adjust and digestion will improve. If you have multiple dogs, feed them separately to prevent stealing and stress. Now let's look at another mistake many owners make without realizing it. Mistake number 5, switching foods too abruptly. You find what looks like a better kibble and switch all at once, thinking you're just improving their diet. But the next day you see vomiting, diarrhea, or even food refusal, and you blame the new food. In reality, your dog's gut microbiome didn't have time to adapt. Their digestive system gets used to certain ingredients, and when you change everything overnight, it gets thrown off. To avoid that, do a gradual transition over 7 to 10 days. Start by mixing about 25% of the new kibble with the old and increase every 3 days. If your dog is sensitive, stretch the process a few more days and avoid adding treats or new foods during the change. With a little patience, their body adapts without discomfort, and digestion improves day by day. And heads up, because the next mistake is just as common. Mistake number 6, not providing fresh water consistently. Food matters, but water matters even more, and many owners don't pay it the attention it deserves. A mildly dehydrated dog may seem lethargic, have dry stools, or a more concentrated urine that over time affects the kidneys and urinary tract. Have you checked your dog's water bowl halfway through the day? It often has drool, kibble crumbs, or even a film of grime that favors bacteria. That's why it's best to set up at least 2 water stations at home. Wash bowls daily with dish soap and refresh the water in the morning and evening. If your dog eats dry kibble, they'll need to drink more, especially in summer. And speaking of habits that seem harmless, the next mistake is very common. Mistake number 7, overfeeding. It might seem minor, but over time, too much food can lead to overweight or obesity. An overweight dog won't just move less, they're also more prone to joint problems, heart disease, or diabetes. To prevent it, it's essential to measure the amount of food you give each day. The feeding charts on the kibble bag are a helpful starting point, but there's something else to keep in mind. If you use treats for training, you need to adjust the daily ration. For example, if you give several treats during the day, subtract that amount from their main meal. Every treat counts, and if you don't subtract them, you'll be giving more calories than they need. Don't ignore this mistake, because a dog at an ideal weight lives longer and lives better. Mistake number 8, eyeballing portions. We just saw why too much food can cause problems, but giving less than needed also takes a toll. When you eyeball portions, a couple of tablespoons short each day can leave your dog with less energy, muscle loss, or a dull coat without you noticing. Sometimes we think they eat well because they leave nothing behind. But what if they're simply hungry and not showing it? The solution is simple. Always measure. Use a measuring cup or a kitchen scale and refer to the bag's chart for their weight. If you notice they're thinner or less energetic, increase the portion by about 10% and watch for changes over a couple of weeks. Measuring precisely is real care. Mistake number 9, not adjusting food to activity level. 2 dogs with the same weight can need very different amounts. It's not the same as a dog that takes a relaxed 15-minute stroll versus one that runs, swims, or trains daily. If you always give the same amount without considering their energy use, you can end up with a sedentary overweight dog or an active one that doesn't recover well. To know if they're eating the right amount, use their body as your guide. You should be able to feel the ribs without seeing them, notice a waist from above, and a slightly tucked up belly from the side. If they lose definition, reduce the portion by about 10% for 2 weeks and reassess. If they're thinner or doing lots of exercise, increase that amount and check again after a few weeks. Adjusting food isn't complicated. It's about matching energy to your dog's real life. And now let's talk about another very common mistake. Mistake number 10, feeding only once a day. Feeding your dog once a day might seem practical, but you're overloading their digestive system without realizing it. When you do that, their stomach has to process a large amount of food at once, which can lead to slower digestion or even stomach upset. But that's not all. The rest of the day, their stomach is completely empty, which can trigger acidity and stress. Instead, feeding twice a day, once in the morning and once in the late afternoon or evening, works much better. Splitting their food into two smaller meals helps digestion go more smoothly and keeps energy levels steadier throughout the day. Try it for a week and you'll likely see your dog calmer, more active, and with a better appetite. And now, let's look at the next mistake. Mistake number 11. Always feeding from the food bowl. Always using the bowl might feel easiest, but it takes away something essential: the chance to think, explore, and have fun while eating. Before living indoors, dogs spent a big part of the day hunting or foraging for food. That process didn't just keep them physically active, it also stimulated their mind. Now, food simply appears in their bowl and disappears in seconds. And while that's fine sometimes, a dog that never works for their food ends up bored, frustrated, or anxious. Have you noticed they sometimes chew things, bark for no reason, or seem restless for no clear reason? Often it's not disobedience, it's boredom. Luckily, there are very simple ways to fix it. You can use toys like a Kong Classic or Kong Wobbler, hide kibble in a snuffle mat, or spread it on a lick mat, like a licky mat, so they have to lick slowly. If you don't want to spend money, try DIY options. Roll the kibble inside a towel and let them unroll it, or use a muffin tin and cover each cup with tennis balls. Alternating these activities with regular bowl meals will make your dog more active, focused, and balanced. For you, it's just a few minutes, but for them, it's a little adventure every day. And now that you know how to turn food into a game, let's look at another mistake that can be dangerous for your dog. Mistake number 12. Ignoring what's actually in the kibble. Choosing the right kibble isn't about fancy branding or the price on the bag, it's about what's actually inside. Many owners think that if it's a well-known brand, it means quality, but that's not always the case. What really makes the difference are the ingredients. Have you ever taken time to read the label carefully? The first ingredient should be a clearly identified animal protein, like chicken, turkey, or salmon. If you see generic terms like meat byproducts or meat meal, be cautious. They can include lower quality parts like feathers, beaks, or cartilage. Also look at the carbs. If corn, wheat, or soy show up among the first ingredients, it's probably a kibble with lots of fillers and lower nutritional value. On the other hand, small amounts of brown rice or oats are a good sign. Higher quality kibbles also include fruits and veggies like carrots, sweet potatoes, or blueberries that provide vitamins, antioxidants, and fiber. Another key point is preservatives. Avoid preservatives like BHA, BHT, or ethoxyquin, which can be problematic over the long term. Choose kibbles that use natural preservatives like vitamin E or rosemary extract. It might feel overwhelming at first, but you only have to do it once. Once you find the ideal kibble for your dog, you'll notice the difference in energy, digestion, and even their coat. And speaking of choosing well, there's another factor many people forget: your dog's age. Mistake number 13. Not adapting kibble to your dog's age. Did you know your dog's kibble should change with age? Not all foods are the same, and giving the wrong kibble can affect long-term health. A puppy needs a formula with more protein, fat, and minerals like calcium and phosphorus, essential for strong bones and balanced growth. Ideally, keep this diet until they reach around 80% of their adult size, usually around 1 year old. Once your dog is an adult or entering the senior stage, their needs change. Fewer calories, easier to digest foods, and nutrients that support joints, heart, and kidneys. Have you noticed many older dogs gain weight even if they eat the same? It often happens because the kibble isn't adapted to their metabolism. Adjusting food by age isn't a whim. It's part of responsible care. And speaking of that, here's why you shouldn't limit their diet to only kibble. Mistake number 14. Not considering home-cooked food. Have you ever thought about cooking for your dog at home? A lot of people think dry food is the only option, but that's not entirely true. Before commercial kibbles existed, dogs ate meat, bones, and natural leftovers prepared at home. Today, more and more owners are coming back to that idea because they want something fresher, more natural, and free of preservatives. Home-cooked food has lots of benefits if it's done right. You control the ingredients, avoid byproducts, and tailor the diet to your dog's actual needs. But it's not about handing over leftovers from your plate. Have you noticed how many sauces, seasonings, and fats we use when cooking? What's normal for us can be harmful for them. The key is balance. Make sure to include quality proteins like chicken, turkey, or fish, small amounts of carbs like rice or sweet potato, and healthy fats for energy. You can also add safe fruits and veggies like carrots, zucchini, or blueberries to boost fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants. If you plan ahead and use reliable nutrition calculators, you can adjust portions based on size and activity level. And if time is a concern, combining home-cooked food with a quality kibble can be a practical option. In the end, cooking for your dog isn't a fad. It's a simple way to offer more health and variety. And speaking of balance, the next mistake is closely related. Mistake number 15. Ignoring food allergies or sensitivities. If your dog keeps scratching, licks their paws, gets ear infections over and over, or has soft stools, the cause may be in the food, not the skin. Food allergies don't always appear overnight. which is why it's so easy to miss them. Have you noticed symptoms come and go with no clear reason? If you suspect it, the most reliable method is an elimination diet. For 8 to 12 weeks, offer a single protein they've never eaten before, like duck or lamb, and a single source of carbs. No treats or snacks during that time. If they improve, reintroduce ingredients one by one to identify the culprit. If in doubt, check with your vet so you can do it safely and in a balanced way. Because it's not about calming the itch, it's about finding the cause. When we talk about our dog's diet, it is very easy to focus on schedules, portions, or the type of kibble, and that is a great start. But there is another key point that we sometimes forget: specific foods that can harm them even if they look completely harmless. Some of them are on our own plates, some are sold as treats for dogs, and others appear in a second of distraction. So now we're going to see which foods can become a real danger for your dog and what you can do to keep them safe and healthy every single day. Cooked bones. They may look natural, but once cooked bones turn brittle and splinter into sharp shards. They can cut gums, puncture the esophagus, or even tear the intestines. Even small pieces can get stuck and end up in emergency surgery. Is it really worth handing over the roast bone just to see your dog happy for a couple of minutes? If you want the benefits without playing roulette, choose single-ingredient dehydrated chews approved by your vet, or durable rubber toys you can stuff and freeze. The rule is simple: if it's cooked, don't give it to your dog. That leftover treat can turn into a vet bill over $1,000. Heads up on the next classic treat, because you can find it in almost any pet store: rawhide bones. For years, this type of bone has been sold as a long-lasting chew, but rawhide is a chemically processed byproduct that softens into rubbery sheets that are easy to swallow. What is the problem? Many dogs gulp those rubbery slabs in chunks, which creates a choking risk or intestinal blockages. They digest poorly, so they can sit in the stomach for hours and cause vomiting, dangerous bloat, or blockages that end in the operating room. If you want to give your dog a treat, switch to dehydrated tendons, dried fish skin, or collagen sticks that break apart safely. If your dog is a powerful chewer, rotate those with hard rubber toys and always supervise. And if rawhide already made you hesitate, wait until you hear this about another classic that looks harmless: pig ears. They seem old school and satisfying, but they hide several risks you should know. Many dogs swallow large, soft pieces, which causes vomiting and diarrhea, and insensitive dogs can trigger pancreatitis. Excess fat is a double problem. In the short term, it inflames the pancreas, and in the long term, it drives weight gain. If your dog lives for animal chews, go for leaner and safer alternatives like dehydrated beef trachea, oven-baked rabbit ears with no added fat, or single-ingredient treats from audited suppliers. I also recommend adjusting the portion to your dog's size and daily calories. Now let's move on to a danger that comes straight from your fridge: dairy. Yogurt, milk, and cheese look harmless, but many dogs are lactose intolerant. Without enough lactase, milk sugars ferment and cause gas, cramps, and diarrhea. On top of that, soft cheeses are fat bombs that can set off pancreatitis. Want to use cheese as positive reinforcement? Use lactose-free dog treats or tiny cubes of cooked lean meat. For a summer treat, freeze mashed banana or pumpkin with water, or goat's milk kefir if your dog tolerates it. Your dog doesn't need dairy to be happy, and many improve when you avoid it. Be careful with the food I'm about to mention next. Avocado. Avocado is a nutritional star for people, yet it gets complicated with dogs. The pit and the skin are choking risks, and the leaves and bark contain more pursil. The flesh is very fatty, and some dogs tolerate a tiny amount, but others vomit or get diarrhea after eating it. Looking for healthy fats? Then choose sardines in water, a small splash of salmon oil, or hydrated chia seeds. And the problem is not always toxins or fats. Sometimes the danger is how hard the chew is. Cow hooves. They are extremely hard, and that is the problem. They wear down enamel, crack molars, and can even fracture teeth. If your dog is an intense chewer, the hoof can splinter into fragments that cut their gums or get lodged in the throat. What's the easiest way to choose a safe chew? Use this simple rule. If you can't press it with your thumbnail and leave a mark, it's too hard for your dog. Instead of hooves, choose natural and safe options like dehydrated beef trachea, rabbit ears with no additives, beef tendons, or dried fish skin. All of them deliver chewing satisfaction without putting their teeth at risk. Now watch out for the next food, because you'll find it in most kitchens: nutmeg. This popular holiday spice can create a big problem for your dog. Nutmeg contains myristicin, which acts on the nervous system. In dogs, it can cause disorientation, tremors, rapid heartbeat, and, at high doses, seizures. If your dog steals a piece of cake or cookie with nutmeg, they will be getting a toxic spice and also a load of sugar and fat that can turn into a dangerous digestive cocktail. Keep cakes out of reach and train the Leave It cue well. Want to bake for your dog? It is better to make cookies with pumpkin, oat flour, and peanut butter with no xylitol. Since we're on kitchen ingredients, here's a quick roundup of the best-known toxins that still send dogs to the emergency room. Deadly classics you should not forget. They are famous for a reason, and they still send dogs to emergency rooms every week. Take note, chocolate contains the obromine, which is more concentrated in dark and baking chocolate. Grapes and raisins can cause acute kidney failure in small amounts. Onions and garlic damage red blood cells and cause anemia. Alcohol and caffeine are a hard no. They throw vital systems off balance and can end in seizures or collapse. And xylitol, which is found in chewing gum, mints, and some peanut butters and baked goods, can crash blood sugar in minutes and damage the liver. All right, let's move on to another seemingly harmless food that fools many owners: macadamia nuts. They are small yet dangerous. With just a few, some dogs can show weakness, hind leg tremors, vomiting, and overheating. The worst part is that we don't know exactly which compound causes the reaction, so you can't predict who will be affected or how severe it will be. Do you really want to risk it for a bowl of mixed nuts on the coffee table? Prevention is key. No macadamias in bowls within reach, and none in baked goods or nut butters. Speaking of curious risks, the next one looks harmless until you know the danger: raw yeast dough. Once it hits your dog's warm stomach, raw dough keeps fermenting and swells. It expands like a balloon, stretches the stomach wall, and can trigger dangerous bloat. Fermentation also produces alcohol that enters the bloodstream and makes your dog intoxicated from the inside. Symptoms can appear within minutes: a bloated belly, unsteadiness, vomiting, disorientation, and even collapse. It's rare for your dog to get into raw dough, but in kitchens and outdoor gatherings there are always risks. Protect the bowls while the dough rises inside a microwave or an oven that is turned off, and close the trash securely. If raw dough is sneaky, salty snacks are not far behind. Very salty foods, potato chips, pretzels, beef jerky for humans, and bouillon cubes are all loaded with salt. Dogs don't always drink enough water to balance it. The problem is that too much sodium causes vomiting and diarrhea, and in high amounts it can lead to tremors, seizures, and even serious kidney issues. If you want to give your dog a treat, choose plain cooked chicken or turkey without seasonings, cut into tiny pieces. Those salty crackers may be delicious for you, yet they are not a good food for your pet. If salt can already be risky, spoiled food is even worse. Moldy or spoiled food. To them, compost, trash bags, or picnic leftovers feel like buried treasure, even though they hide a lot of risks. The mold that grows on bread or fruit produces mycotoxins that can cause drooling, staggering, tremors, and even seizures. Spoiled meats and mayonnaise-based salads carry bacterial loads that wreck the gut and may require hospitalization for dehydration. To prevent scares, seal the compost, use dog-proof trash cans, and practice the drop-it cue. It also helps to pick up fallen fruit in the yard and check for mushrooms after rain. Deli meats and ham. They are convenient, yes. Healthy for your dog, not so much. Deli meats and ham combine three serious problems: too much salt, too much fat, and preservatives like nitrites. I know they look like easy options, yet the salt dehydrates and stresses the kidneys, the fat spikes the risk of pancreatitis, and the additives do the gut no favors. Many owners use them to hide medication or as a quick reward. Then soft stools, gas, or weight gain show up. A little deli meat will not harm your dog, but if you use it daily, it is better to find alternatives. You can cook skinless chicken breast or turkey breast without salt. Cut it into small cubes and freeze it in portions. Your dog will still see it as a treasure. Cold cuts cause harm little by little, but the next mistake can turn into an emergency overnight. Corn on the cob. The corn itself isn't the problem, the cob is. Many dogs enjoy gnawing on it and end up swallowing pieces that are just the right size to lodge in the small intestine. The result is worrying, vomiting, lethargy, abdominal pain, and an X-ray you don't want to see. Because the cob does not break down, waiting rarely works, and the solution is usually surgery. How do you avoid this problem at barbecues or parties? Cut the kernels off into a bowl before serving and toss the cobs in a tightly closed trash can. It's a simple habit that saves you worry and money. And that brings us to the end of this big review of the mistakes that, without meaning to, can affect your dog's life. Thank you so much for staying with me until the end. It really shows how much you care about your furry best friend. If you want to keep improving your relationship, I recommend watching our video 60 Weird Dog Behaviors Explained. There you'll discover what your dog is really trying to tell you with many of those weird things they do every day. It is genuinely eye-opening.